Okay. Well,
All right, you're in.
Okay, good evening and welcome to our September 9th meeting. It is 5 p.m. and we will begin our select board. Tonight's first agenda, are we going to, okay, this is one for the grant.
yep.
We received a letter from David Perella, who was the chair of the Buckland Historic Commission, regarding the Massachusetts Historical Commission Survey and Planning Grant that was applied for. And, so, you want to just kind of give us the quick synopsis?
Sure. You may recall that I think it was our last meeting, our historic commission reached out to the Massachusetts Historical Commission because there was a little bit of a misunderstanding on their part of not realizing that they needed the full $25,000 in hand. It was a reimbursement grant.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not have we only have $12,500 that was appropriated at town meeting, so they did allow them to have some additional time to try to raise the funds. Evidently, they were not able to do that. He doesn't indicate in this letter, but I'm assuming that they were not able to raise the additional $12,500, so therefore have opted not to proceed with the grant. So he's basically, in his last paragraph, mentioning that because of the fiscal issues facing the town, he believes that the town funds set aside should be immediately released for the select board and finance committee to distribute as they see fit. Unfortunately, that's not really how it works.
No,
It will either roll back to free cash, or it could be reallocated at a special town meeting or annual town meeting.
Right.
So because we do know we have some expenses like the transportation for the Smith Folk student, the Smith Folk student's tuition, something like this,
Probably
we
look
could
at a special
potentially.
town meeting to
Yes,
reallocate those funds.
we will definitely be doing a special town meeting probably in early November.
Mhm.
We're just waiting for our accountant to do all the free cash certification, and then we'll come up with the date. So I've sort of just plugged this into my folder for the special town meeting to remind us that this is something we're gonna wanna address. So that is what the gist of that is.
Okay. I don't think that's nothing I don't think we have to vote on.
No, it was more just a,
Yep. Just now we
That's-
have it in writing that
Mhm.
they are no longer pursuing
Correct.
this grant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We do have a appointment for 5:30 with the Mohawk Trail Superintendent. But we clearly have some time on that, so we're gonna motor on. We've got some documents to sign. We have a MOU with CMRK Textile Recycling Company. So they're the ones that have the storage bins.
so
Yeah,
we
clothing
currently
bins.
have the Salvation Army we have a bin at the transfer station to collect any textiles, rags, clothing, because we're not allowed to put textiles in the trash any longer. This company here has approached the Franklin County Solid Waste Management District. They're offering to place their bin instead of the Salvation Army bin, which Jan has mentioned has not been picked up in a very long time.
It says closed a lot.
Yeah. This company here, if we sign an exclusive agreement with them, they'll actually pay us 7 cents, I think, per pound of recycled textiles. So this agreement is to sort of, if you agree that this is the route we're gonna take, they will come up, she'll get Salvation Army to remove the bin that's no longer really working for us, and this company will replace it with their bin.
Makes sense.
And then we would receive, I believe it's quarterly distributions from whatever is deposited in the bin.
Were we getting anything from the Salvation Army?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, if they're not picking it up, then I think it's time. Plus, we have an advantage here of getting a little bit back. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, it's not much, but
Something.
it's better than what we got now. So,
Yep.
and as Mr. Langford would say, every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Already put the 12 grand in.
Right.
12,500.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a no-brainer for us at this
Mhm.
point in time. Joan, you got any other questions on it?
No, I agree. I mean, the idea of having a Salvation Army and they use the clothes to sell in their stores but if they're not picking it up, it's just not working out,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And it's a better way to, you can't just throw away clothes, you
Right.
know.
No, we can't. We literally can't.
You literally can't.
Mhm.
And it brings in, a small amount of revenue. What would be a ton? What would we get for a ton of fabric?
Good question. We'd have to do that math when we figure out how many pounds in a ton. Come on. Come on, Joan. Do you think I
It's the
have
end of
this
the
in
day.
my...
I'm not the mathematician here, so.
It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
We
How's
won't-
our
we won't do
mathematician
that.
doing?
10 cents a pound.
Yeah, $140.
7 cents a pound. So, look at Mary. She is
Thank
the
you, Mary.
mathematician.
Thank you, Mary.
That's right.
Yeah, it's, this is a good solution for the town,
Mhm. Yeah, we definitely need to
And
have
then
an
when the
option
bin's
there.
full, all we gotta do is call them and they come and pick it up,
Yes,
so.
yes.
And what do they do with the fabric, the clothing?
I believe, did I give you the email from Jan? Was that part of that, or did I just put that in there? It seemed to me they're a similar organization as the Salvation Army. I think they do distribute it
Oh, okay.
where needed. I think they take shoes and blankets, and
Mhm.
I think it's very similar to the Salvation Army. It's
Okay.
someone that Jan had found and had put out to the towns as an option.
Will they take just, fabric that isn't usable clothing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's for
that's-
anything, because that's the whole point. We're not allowed to throw
Clothing,
that
shoes,
into
and
the,
other textiles.
into the trash anymore.
Sounds like they'll take pretty much all of it and then they sort it from there.
Right. Maybe the stuff that's usable, they find a source for.
I
it,
believe so.
Okay, right.
Okay. I would, make a motion to, accept the MOU from CMRK, to get that rolling and get a bin put up at the Buckland Transfer Station for, textiles and clothing bin.
I second that.
Further discussion? Does this just need to be signed by the chair? Or
I believe so.
both of us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's just
So,
one
top
signature.
all to allow the select board chair to sign the MOU.
Second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. We have a time off request form from our town administrator. She's looking to take some, I think after the summer, much needed time off to continue her, her journey across the states.
Yep.
So October 8th through the 17th.
Mhm.
Is that, do we need to actually vote on that?
I know you have to sign off on it. I don't know. I mean, Kara has signed her part showing that I do have the available time.
Yeah.
So how does that impact meetings that month?
So we changed I will be here for the meeting on the
Yeah, 'cause we
Tuesday night, and
changed
then
our
I
date.
leave on Wednesday, and then we're,
What's the dates?
so I leave on the 8th. Your meeting is the 7th,
Okay,
October 7th.
Yeah, because we kicked that back a week.
Yeah,
okay.
so there will be no meetings missed.
And then the next meeting will be,
The next
Then we're
meeting, the
going back to our
28th?
regular.
it will be in 3 weeks?
Yeah, well,
To
it's,
the 22nd.
yes, that is, well, no, it's not actually, Mary, because it's the 2nd and 4th.
Put it in my calendar.
It's the
after that.
28th.
Fourth
It's
and
the 7th
So
and the
the
28th.
7th and then the 28th.
Yeah.
28th.
Yep. So that will give me, when I'm back, I will be able to, I'll have plenty of time to get everything ready for the next meeting.
Okay. We'll make a motion to sign off on the town administrator's vacation.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Maybe get Larry a gift card or something.
Poor Larry.
Alright, we have a couple of street use permits and town hall use permits. We have a street use permit for the West County Arts and Culture for Moonlight Magic.
I did send that off to Chief Bardwell and have not, I sent it a while ago. I'm gathering he's aware of it because I need all the paperwork back to close the bridge.
Yeah. 'Cause
So,
that's gotta go to the state.
yeah, and they do need a bit of a lead time.
Mhm.
It's not a super easy process since I
Right.
just went through that for the road race.
Yeah.
So I will follow up with him after, I mean, obviously, if you have any concerns or questions. They don't do a lot of closures on this side.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Michelle had basically told me they're gonna be having a couple porta potties down on, by the river.
Usually this side's
They-
open.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the alleys may have somebody, like a vendor or two in them, but nothing that's gonna impact,
Yeah,
State Street.
right.
It's more just the bridge closure. We're gonna, one of your other requests is for the Friends of the Buckland Rec to do their craft fair upstairs that they've been doing the last few years, which has been nice because it lets the people have restrooms on this side, place to warm up on this side, of the
It's a
event.
great event.
So, anyway, that's the story with that. So I will be following back up with Chief Bardwell.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the street use permit for the West County Arts and Culture, as long as the police chief signs off on it.
Yep.
Second that.
Further discussion? Oh, and to have the select board chair sign off on that.
Second that. Whole
All in
thing.
favor?
Aye. Okay, that's such a fun event.
Alright, and then we have the Friends of the Buckland Rec, looking for the town hall use permit for the Moonlight Magic. Make a motion to accept that permit.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
There was, Joan, another
Right.
application, but they pulled it out for now. They've decided to hold off on applying to use the town hall for the event that's listed there. So you can just cross that off for tonight. They
Okay.
may come back at a later time, but
All right.
Cheryl, was it just you that we were waiting on for tonight, or do you have somebody else? Okay,
yeah, Martha.
we'll wait then. I was gonna say, if it was just,
Oh, you're
if it
very
was just
kind.
you, then we'd roll right into it, but we'll just keep motoring on here.
Just,
Um,
I think you meant only.
only-
I do
Isn't there a song about that?
We've only just begun. I had Karen Carpenter on the radio on my way in.
So sorry.
I know. I don't know why.
All right, we have our minutes and warrants. We've got our minutes from July 22nd and August 26th. All correct this time?
They were correct last time. I just did not notice that
My
there were
name
2
on-
pages of signatures. That's all. All good.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Your minutes are wonderful, as always.
Succinct.
Yep. I will make a motion to accept the minutes for the select board meeting of July 22nd and August 26th.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have the vendor and payroll warrants, for week 2605 and 06, for both. I'll make a motion to accept both vendor and payroll warrants.
I second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Did you say we're not gonna do the application for the, town hall use for Shelburne Falls?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, that got taken out.
Yep.
Okay.
So, we'll move into, we've still got 10 or 15 minutes here. We'll move into items not reasonably anticipated by chair. I don't have anything. Any select board member concerns?
Not today.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow's a new day.
All right. How about our town administrator?
It's not that long tonight, so it should be perfect.
You gotta make it last for about, 15
Okay, I can
minutes.
make it as long as we need to make it.
You gotta make
Okay.
it till Martha shows up.
Okay. Okay, so the first thing I have to share is that we are take 2 on the Purple Heart Town. We had one little celebration, but have decided that it wasn't quite properly executed, so we're going to do it again. We've been working with Al Varellis, who's the commander of the Order of the Purple Heart, and the dedication ceremony is going to take place here at the town hall on September 22nd at 3 p.m. The signs have arrived that are the official Purple Heart Town signs. They're going to need to be placed at the Buckland
Did we
entry.
do town or community?
I think he said town. I believe he said town.
Purple Heart thing?
September 22nd at 3 p.m. I have
At town hall.
at town hall. Yes, Larry, we would love to have you, especially there. I have started reaching out to our senators, congresspeople, representatives. They've all been notified. I'm going to work on the newspaper. We need to get a color guard, an honor guard, all sorts of things that we need. There's a whole list. So I'm working on that. So mark your calendars for that. It sounds like maybe Martha. Mike Carter of GCG Associates and Linda Overing of Breezeway Farm Consulting joined Anthony, Tim, there's Larry, Anthony, Tim, Rook, Rebecca, and me on a walk through Ashfield Street, Pratt Avenue, Monroe Avenue, and Bray Road yesterday to start the project of the design. He's been working on the design engineering with the remaining CDBG funds that we had reprogrammed. So he is working on right-of-way research, base mapping, preliminary design and cost estimates, and wanted all of the department heads to be there to provide any sort of guidance as to wish lists, anything they felt was a particular concern in terms of drainage or problem areas with waste, the wastewater, sewer lines, water lines. So we did that. It was a beautiful day. The next step is going to be a public hearing, which we're going to shoot for October 28th. But there will be more info on that to follow. We'll be sending a mailing out to residents in that area. So it was a good opportunity to have everyone kind of get the lay of the land, so to speak. I think that's pretty much what I had. But I don't know if there's anything else that we've Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, that's still an ongoing issue. I did, before we lost all of our emails, phones, etc. this afternoon, I did see an email that there's a couple meetings happening in the near future to discuss sort of where things stand, where we're going from here. There's the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. I know you were part of that conversation. So GIC being a potential option, Maya being a potential option. There's a couple meetings coming up, so I will pass those along as well if you want to continue to sit through more Zooms.
We need to keep that one kind of
Yeah,
top of mind.
That's
yeah.
gotta be,
Very expensive
Yes,
problem.
it is. It is. So,
well, and they're talking possibly double digits again for next year as well.
yeah, I think they've
So.
kind of maintained that right along.
Yeah.
So,
And it's an employee well-being issue as well. in terms of-
so that's something that's definitely still out there on the radar. Other than that, we're sort of plugging along. We did place the 2 ads in the paper for the Director of Assessing.
Director of assessment.
That's what my title is. Always has been, Clint. So Director of Assessing and the seasonal, well, okay, the seasonal laborer shop assistant position have, they're both on the website. We're waiting for the recorder. I sent the email in last week. I have not received back the confirmation of the date that it's going in the paper yet. But that's happening. So already we did receive a resume for Director of Assessing, just based on what was on the website. So hopefully more will come in and we'll have some great candidates and we can move along in that department. So I am still continuing to do the job. Just today, we got all of our, hopefully by the end of day, there's an email saying that we have been approved, all of our values have been approved. So that's the first step in setting the tax rate. So then it moves on to the accountant and we work together to get that done. And I will continue to assist for as long as I need to. So yeah, that's, I think, all that I can think of right now.
Excellent. Joan, anything else
No,
that you wanted to?
You wanna run solo?
I can run solo. Yep.
So I already made it past our select board member concerns,
I
but
have-
I will double
I
back to
have
see
no
if you-
concerns, no, no. Believe me, I just create concerns. Just a few things with mother that had to be
Yeah.
taken care of, and boy,
Okay.
It happens.
she's 100 years old living with me, and
Oh, my
yeah, today is it's a third of another year, today on the 9th, yeah. Yes, Mom, I'll buy you a present. No. She's a
Make
wonderful
her a
lady.
cupcake.
No, she's, yeah.
All right, yeah, I guess if you wanna maybe get rolling,
Sure,
and
yeah, we
then
can get rolling.
Martha will probably be here. We have Cheryl Stanton,
Sure.
the Mohawk Trail Superintendent, to discuss the 2D8T building use.
Yes, so I'm sure that Martha will be here shortly. We wanted to, and we are coming around to all of the town
They do
finance-
have this.
Oh, that would be great. That was what I was trying to find, but you don't have the internet. So,
There you
so
go.
much better. Thank you, Pam. But just so you know, we are coming around to all of the town select boards at the very least, and maybe finance committees, really to talk about where we are in the process. We are in phase 3, and we have again awarded the study proposal to Burke 12, so we're continuing with the same group of people who have provided us the information in phase 2. And just as a little bit of history, just a reminder that the school committees, both Hollamont and Mohawk Trail, and the 2D8T committee have moved forward with a vision of having a single campus. So having all of the students at a single campus, most likely with Mohawk Trail, in order to provide the most outstanding educational experience for kids, with the fiscal concerns that can address in terms of providing for what has become a much more challenging educational experience, including special education, behavioral supports, speech and language, OT, PT, all of those things that have really expanded over the past several years. Oh, my friends are here. Entrez-vous. S'il vous plaît. That's all the French I know. Is that French?
Yes,
I don't
it
even
is.
know.
We.
We did get a French teacher, so we're very excited at Mohawk Trail. Yes, we're very excited. Hi. Am I late? No.
No, you're a couple
Everyone
minutes
is
early, we're
early.
ahead of schedule, so
Oh,
we ran out of stuff to talk about, so.
Uh-oh. You ran out of stuff to talk about? I didn't.
Well, no.
I never run out of
We
stuff
were
to
waiting
talk
for you
about.
guys, so we threw Cheryl in the hot
Second
seat.
only to you, Martha.
So we have no internet currently here, so
So we
just,
have this, and I have your agenda.
Yep,
You have your agenda, Pam?
I have my agenda.
Okay. So I basically just went over that we're out visiting all of the communities again, the select boards and some combination of select board finance, to let them know where we are in the process. Phase 3, we've awarded Burke 12, the contract to continue the work, and that both school committees and the 2D8T working group have moved forward a vision of a single campus as an aspirational goal, certainly understanding that there's a lot of work that has to happen between now and when that can occur. That's where I left it. So, is that kickoff? I think
That's
that's a
good.
kickoff.
Oh, so now it's my turn?
Now it's your turn.
Well, some of the things that we as a steering committee think that we need to look very carefully at are, number one, educational programming, educational visioning. What is it that we want both the centralized elementary school and the Mohawk Trail middle and high schools to be offering at the end of this process? And that's something that we are gonna be going out to town community meetings about. What is it you want your schools to look like? What do you want your kids to know? What do you want them to be prepared to do? So that's a part of what we're gonna be doing next. We also wanna be looking very hard at transportation. We heard loud and clear that transportation is an issue. Sending kids on a bus from Western Heath to Mohawk Trail, it's a long ride. So can we find ways that we can potentially make that ride shorter using, I don't know, this is a thing that Robin and others are gonna be looking at very carefully to figure out if there are ways we can use vans. Can we start some routes that don't stop all the way across? They start here and they end here and then they drive straight. And just looking at, where kids are, where they're gonna be living, what we know today, and see if we can't deal with that. We're also gonna be looking, which I'm sure is near and dear to all of your hearts, capital. What are the capital requirements gonna be? We have a statement of interest into the Mass School Building Authority, telling them that we'd like to be in their queue to get reimbursement funding for an addition or a renovation. And we're thinking of it as basically a small addition onto the current Mohawk Trail School, because we don't have facilities at the school now that can handle little kids, kindergartners, pre-K, first graders even, bathrooms in classrooms for kindergartners, that kind of thing. So we're thinking we'd like to do that, but they have to accept us, and they don't accept everybody. We won't know that until December of this year, whether we're accepted into what they call eligibility. But certainly the costs of that's a major factor. So are our town's gonna be able to afford what their portion of that project might be?
You answered several of my questions already.
So are you looking at doing just an addition onto the school itself, or are you looking at like a whole separate type of school system, kind of like where the old administrative offices used to be?
Right, so, on the 22nd, MSBA is coming out, to have an initial conversation, with us, about the work. I think we are trying to be cautious and leave all of our options open. So, the range of what can happen is obviously trying to renovate Mohawk Trail as is to get all of the students in there, because by number that could happen. But as Martha mentioned, there are facilities constraints, right? So then is the next best option to build an addition, more likely in the back, that would potentially house our pre-K through 2 or 3, with appropriate sized classrooms and facilities. Going all the way to a complete new campus with a single school. The reason why that would still remain on the docket is because when MSBA comes and moves us through eligibility, then they may say, there's a certain threshold that if we go above the value of the building of Mohawk Trail, that we would have to upgrade all of Mohawk Trail, to things like air quality, air handling, all of the current code for light and all of that. So there may be a decision where it might be more feasible to have a new building for everyone. It might be more feasible to have just a small addition for our youngest grades, and we don't know the answer to that yet. And we want to work with MSBA to have all of our options open as we move through the process. That included considering BSE as a site, but the landlocked part of BSE becoming everyone's elementary school makes it less likely that MSBA would pick that as a site. So that's why we've decided to put our eggs in one basket at Mohawk Trail, I guess.
If you do that option of a new building, where would that be, and what would happen to the existing building?
That's all
Yeah,
part of
figuring that out.
feasibility, not eligibility. So once we make eligibility, meaning there's intent and willingness on the part of the community, there's a willingness and an ability for funding. Once that determination is made, then we go through that whole process of what is feasible, what is the best solution that we can have moving forward.
And afford.
And afford, yep, absolutely. Because it
So-
may be that, the best thing we can do is build a pre-K 3 wing. And that makes a lot of sense. It's very reasonable, it's feasible, and, we move field hockey field to the back, and, that whole front part that is now middle school becomes, we move 6 to the back as a true middle school, and we create an intermediate school of 3 through 5, and then we just build a pre-K 2. That has real potential and real savings, and allows us the economy of scale to bring everyone to the campus, and at probably a very reasonable building cost. The problem is if that renovation triggers code, bringing us up to code,
Yeah.
that's where we get into a lot of added expense, and we just don't know where we are. And so that's what we would be looking at through eligibility and then into feasibility.
Yep. And then there's the whole question of the sort of the transition. So if I think I sent you guys some timelines about this, if we do get into
Yeah.
the MSBA process, it's still, if we're lucky enough to get in this year, it's still 5 years down the road. So what do we do in the meantime? So we're thinking that we would want to transition by closing a couple of elementary schools, moving kids to BSE in one other elementary school, maybe changing the transportation a little bit so that kids who are closer, say the kids in Apple Valley who are closer to Sanderson go to Sanderson, and some of the kids in Charlemont who are closer to BSE go to BSE. But looking at, okay, what are the transition steps that keep us functioning, financially feasibly for the next 5 years as that happens. We're also talking a little bit to the town of Rowe. They're trying to decide if they're interested in this or they're not, what they're willing to do. I don't have a lot of hope that they'll be kind of fast enough, because we're way down the road. And if they would like to join us, then they're gonna have to get moving and indicate some real clear interest that they're willing to do that. So, but that's one of the other things that we're gonna be looking at in the next phase is talking with them.
So in your meetings with boards, what's the sense you get of people's willingness to have their elementary schools closed?
Amazingly enough, we're getting some strong pushback in Charlemont in particular, with a group of parents. It's not clear how widespread that is. They had a straw poll in Ashfield at their town meeting, or the day of their town election, that was like 2/3 yes, 2/3 yes, we want to consider consolidation even if it means closing Sanderson. And 1/3 said no. So that was, as we've been going around, I've been really pleasantly surprised that there hasn't been more over my dead body, you're not touching my school, which I understand. I get that, but
Well, I think Coleraine kind of already knows what that transition would look like, because
And-
when they had to close their
Yeah.
school for a couple
Yep.
weeks and ship them all down
So,
here.
so in Charlemont, we had
Yep.
all of Charlemont school
Yeah.
down for
Yep.
And it fit well, and we got along really well, and it's gonna work. It's
yeah,
gonna,
and
it's just, some parents are nervous, I understand.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that I'm hearing from parents and families is that classrooms are getting to the point in our smallest schools that the class sizes are too small.
Too small, yes, they are.
They're not having the kind of experience that they could have if they, let's say we're at a BSE and there's 2 classrooms at every grade level and 18 students in every classroom. We're looking at classrooms that are ranging, if you include Hollamont, 6 students in a classroom to 12, 13 in our smaller schools. And I think if our parents, many of our parents are looking for a more robust experience for their children. And if you look at some of the reasons why students or families are choosing particularly to school choice from Hollamont into BSE, into Mohawk Trail in particular, it is about the experience for their student. They want to have their kids have more relationships, see more students, and I think that's part of a larger sort of who are we in, not just in Charlemont, we're, a tiny town, all of our tiny towns, but we're part of Massachusetts, we're part of a bigger world, and, to be able to have exposure, for their families, to have their children meet other kinds of kids, I think is really on the forefront of what parents are looking for their kids.
One of the other things we want to do is take whoever is interested in going on a couple of field trips to see campuses that are doing this now.
Central
Gateway.
Mass, Central Mass is like Marlboro, Mass, where where I went to high school and stuff. It's just now they've got, the high school was built when I was going to high school in 1960, whatever it was, and
1916? 60.
there were certain kids I should not have passed. Okay, you make mistakes, so I'll admit. But same thing. Now they've got that. Now they've got the high school I started at in '62. Then when I got in '66, got out, it was a middle school, made another high school. Then now they have, that's part of an elementary school. I'm going, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
And they got multiple
Well, Gateway's got the
campuses.
same thing more in our area.
Yes.
There's a couple others around the state, depending
They
on
work
how-
well. They work well.
Yeah.
Now,
And-
yeah.
I
It's
have
the initial shock.
Yeah,
I have
it
said
is.
all along, right, it's community encouraged.
Yeah.
When we think about our ability to provide for our children,
Yeah.
even in our towns around rec programs and, the soccer, and they're coming now. West County Soccer's playing at Mohawk Trail. They're practicing at Mohawk Trail, their camps at Mohawk Trail. So I do think that we can do more for students if we pool our resources and do it together. So we're not maintaining 5 playgrounds, we're not maintaining, soccer fields in all of our communities. We can get more bang for our buck.
Yeah, I
doing
said it
it
was
together.
1958 when Buckland, Shelburne, and I was a Shelburne kid then. Don't tell people, okay? So there, and moved in. I had all Shelburne kids with a Shelburne teacher, and the other 5th grade class was all Buckland kids with a Buckland teacher. We didn't care. We were outside playing all the sports together. And after 4 years, he said, "This is crazy. The kids could care less."
The kids really.
They adjust.
They
They
adjust.
will adjust. I
Yeah,
promise you.
Definitely,
Yep.
yeah.
Same if we go in bus routes where you put high school and elementary, they will be better. As I've often said, someone said, "My kindergarten kid, I'm a senior." Yes, more so than a 4th grader.
So you bring up a good point. Martha touched on it. What we have been hearing from the community is transportation. And one of the reasons we're here in front of you is the concern around building use. So if we close all of these elementary schools, what is going to happen to the elementary schools? And there is some language in the regional agreement about that, but really it's a community decision and conversation that if we know, for example, I'm just gonna make it up, Coleraine, for example, they already have a plan for their senior center, their police department.
I was gonna say the
their
town hall,
you
yes,
know, like,
yes.
if they already know that that's part of their conversation, then let's put that out there, because that is a concern
Yep.
of citizens that we've talked to, whether they're parents or whether they're older residents. They wanna know what's gonna happen to the building.
Right.
When you look at Ashfields, and they ended up with an unused building that needed a roof and, you know, yada, 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 they wanna know that there's a plan. And I don't think it's our wheelhouse to say, this is what we're gonna do with the building. I think we need to have a conversation with the towns to say, well, this is the thought, this is the
Yeah.
plan, these are the plans that we have, and this is how we could see that transitioning.
Because we own the buildings, Coleraine owns its building, so there's not a question about what kind of, where that goes. We own the building, the district owns the buildings at BSE and Sanderson, so then the question is, one of the questions we need you folks to be thinking about is, who do you want to control the process of what happens to that building? And are you thinking that the school district gives it back to the town, and the town with its citizens figures out what they wanna do with it? Or are you gonna say, we don't want that, you guys figure out what to do with it, and give us the proceeds if you sell it, you know, that kind of thing. But that's something you need to think about. You need to be talking to Shelburne about that, about what their ideas are.
Who owns the land?
We own the whole bit, I think, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we don't lease the building from anybody.
Right.
In Coleraine, we lease the building.
Yep.
They own the property. We own the land and the structures for BSE and Sanderson. You know, and Sanderson's has been thinking about it as well. They haven't been, and I don't know if there have been any conversations about BSE. BSE is actually the most redevelopable, certainly commercially or for housing or something, because it's in a kind of a bigger town.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it's also one of those things too, where our senior center is gonna be looking for some sort of expansion too, so.
Yeah.
You know, that might be something for the docket. You know.
Are you
Yep.
part of, forgive me, I should know this, are you part of the joint senior
Yes.
citizen? Okay.
So it's
So that group has been talking.
us, Shelburne, and Ashfield.
Right.
That group has been talking for about 2 years, and it includes Mary Lyon,
Mhm.
it includes our, local legislators, it includes the community health folks. And so they have been talking, they've really put their work on pause to see what's gonna happen in terms of, is there gonna be, facilities space opening up? And/or, you know, if there are, let's say we sell BSE and there's proceeds for Mohawk Trail, you know, do we work with them to create space at the campus so that there's a central location for senior services? Charlemont, Hawley's been asking for a centralized, emergency
services?
call.
Mm.
Oh,
What's
so
that
there you go.
called?
The dispatch?
Yes, dispatch, emergency dispatch.
Playing
Could that
charades here.
be, you know, all of these needs, like, we're at a perfect point to really look across the 8 communities and say, where are the needs? And if there is availability in space, how can we meet both the needs of the school district, but also some of the now new needs of communities that have an aging in place population, more senior center needs, more community health needs, lack of access to primary care. And so, you know, we're signing a contract, I believe, I hope tomorrow, to allow community health to have a van on site, so that people who use community health can have their medical appointments on campus right there. And so these are the things I think we can be really forward thinking about. And one of the things I've been trying to, you know, remind folks is that, you know, this isn't about right now, right? This isn't about even 2 years from now. This is about, what do we want to be as a community for the next 30 years? How can we position, this is just such a unique point in time, for how can we be, you know.
Right.
Probably 120.
I know. I hear there's some real research in longevity, so I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to put a damper on this, but you mentioned Gateway, Martha, and what ended up happening in Worthington, which is where I used to live, is that they were unhappy with that, and they didn't want to lose their elementary school.
Yeah.
So they broke away from Gateway, their elementary school as their own district, and then they moved over to Hampshire Regional.
Yeah.
So.
We have not heard any indications that anybody wants to do that.
But it is hard for a town to give
It is
up
hard.
its because this.
It absolutely is
their
very
thing.
hard, but
It is very
however,
difficult.
I
It is, but
would
it's
say
becoming very
Well,
costly.
I was to say here
there's
is,
not a single town
right,
that has its own school in
Right.
Mohawk Trail.
right.
Lorraine and Heath, Buckland and Shelburne, Plainfield and Ashfield, right? Like
We're becoming,
Holly
it's West
and
County.
Charlemont.
It could be one big town.
Every one of those towns,
Sure.
Plainfield, Heath,
Holly?
Holly, and Buckland could all say, well, I don't have a school in my town, you know? And it was hard to give up our
Yeah.
school and
Yeah.
move it. Heath can say, it was really hard to close their school and join. But it can be done. And it shouldn't, we can be careful about how we create a new space that can encompass all of the students in all of the towns, and I think address some of, what we know is hard for families.
And that's some of what the educational programming work is gonna be about. What, you have to make it I mean, the good thing is that everybody loses, because everybody loses their school. Nobody says, well, they didn't lose their school, how come I have to give up my school? It's, everybody loses, and everybody can gain if we can build a program that we can all afford, that can offer foreign languages in the elementary grades, that can offer, a Hay program for all the kids, that could offer a service learning program, which Coleraine has, for all the kids. You just have to make, as Jake Everland always says, a value proposition that makes it worthwhile to people, and I think that's gonna be our challenge, one of our challenges. We have many challenges.
One of the things of the sandbag and the trip here, but
Please don't be Debbie Downer, I can't take it today.
I just could use the affordability word and say that all these dreams are denominated on the budgets of $50,000.
Yep.
And you haven't even mentioned Franklin Tech.
Yep.
This is all coming at a time in which we are stressed out to the max now. And so the indebtedness that this is gonna require, you sell something, everybody gets the money, but it's probably not you, it's probably somebody. So I'm gonna keeping a sharp eye on the impact on our capital budgeting for the next decade. It's a big, big issue.
Yep, absolutely. And I think a couple of things about that. I do think that the governor, despite the real challenge of the fiscal picture and the changes in federal funding and how Massachusetts is going to be able to continue providing the great care it does through things like Mass Health, and how that is going to trickle down into how much they're able to fund programming and MSBA and things like that. I will say that there's a commitment to rural Massachusetts. She is committed to it. There's a director of rural affairs. I actually have a meeting with the new Commissioner of Education, who's gonna come out and do a visit of rural. He wants all of the information on the Rural Commission report, the fiscal conditions. He wants to learn and know. So I think he's gonna be a strong advocate. The omnibus that is now going into its third year, it always takes a long time for a bill to move through the legislature, but the omnibus bill has in it a larger percentage of reimbursement for schools in rural districts that are looking to consolidate in order to gain efficiencies of scale and reduce overhead costs and improve the quality of education. Right now, we think that if we are able to join and create a new region with Hollamont joining us as a pre-K-12 instead of just the 1-6, we can get an extra 6% reimbursement. So we're anticipating a 76% reimbursement. The omnibus bill has 95%, I believe, written in it for rural districts who are looking to consolidate. So again, I feel like it's perfect timing for municipalities, municipal leaders to stay in the game and really push for these things that will help. We call it the downward spiral of losing demographics and losing students and cutting programs. And I think in the municipal side, it's if you don't have strong public schools and you can't provide the services and you have an aging in place population and you're not attractive for young families, the housing issues that are here around rural communities, it's like a synergetic moment in time for us to say, if you want rural Mass to continue, then these are the issues we're facing, and you have the solutions in front of you. We've given you the answers. Now you need to step up to the plate. So, Pollyanna up against Debbie Downer. I say
I love Polly.
Pollyanna is going to win because Pollyanna can throw a fastball. So it's really, really important that we give it a good fight, because doing the same is not going to get us anything. It's just, we're just going to continue to struggle, and I think not be able to create the kind of community within our schools and within our communities that our families are looking for, and the opportunities that they want their kids to have. And I think we'll be forced into closing schools.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be an option. And that's the unfortunate part. We can either say this is the vision we want, or we're going to slowly just have to combine classrooms, have to close schools. And I don't think that there's no value proposition in that. That is reactionary, and
Right.
where we have the ear of the governor and the ear of the legislature, I just think, pushing hard on that. If we could get 95% reimbursement, we'll talk
Somebody just
about-
got 80. 80
Yep.
was, I think it was, just in the MSBA, they just
Yep.
got 80, which is their regular max.
I know, I'm Pollyanna, it's all right
Yeah,
though.
no,
We're
but
gonna
that's right,
push.
that is 95 in the
It's
rural,
95
in the
in the-
rural bill.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Well, I will say, it's an omnibus bill and it's like 300 pages long, so if they don't pay attention to 95 could very easily slip into our wheelhouse, and all of a sudden
Is
we're
this the
looking at
rural
95.
schools
Yeah.
bill that you're talking about? When you
Mhm.
say omnibus? Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yep.
got a lot of stuff in it.
It's got a tremendous.
Certainly be helpful.
Yeah.
Certainly would be helpful.
So, all this gets formalized into a new
It
regional
would make Debbie
agreement.
Downer happy.
Debbie Downer would be thrilled.
So all of this gets formalized in a new regional agreement that we're gonna be drafting. We're hoping that, again, we're all kind of on tenterhooks here until the MSBA says yes or no to whether we can get into eligibility in December, because if we
Exactly,
can't,
yeah.
then it's a whole different set of things, but if they do, we would be looking to have a regional agreement drafted by a year from this fall, a year from now. And that's when we would have to get money for the feasibility portion, get approval from the towns for the feasibility portion of which could be $700,000-800,000. We can also try to find grants to cover that. There's money to have that be done. We're hoping that it's not all gonna have to come on the towns
And there is MSBA reimbursement.
Right.
For that as well, so it'd be a portion of.
Right, yeah.
And Franklin County, I think, covered theirs all independently.
Yeah. So that we're hoping can happen at a special town meeting rather than at an annual town meeting, just because it's gonna be a long discussion. And it's extremely important. So I think it's gonna be, 2 or 3 hours that you're not gonna wanna have in the middle of your town meeting. During this whole thing, we're gonna be going out, and we're gonna be talking with people in different communities, different schools, but we also want to encourage towns to begin to have their own forums about this and talk to their town, you know, what does Buckland people wanna do with Buckland Shelburne Elementary if it comes back, you know? What are their thinking? So we'd like to encourage towns to do that, in their own town, and certainly if you're supportive of this, we're gonna need visible signs of support for us to, you know, to help us get all the towns on board with this, because people look to you folks and to residents of the town for, okay, what do you guys think? And so, at some point, we're gonna be coming to you and saying, if you really wanna do this, then we need you guys to help us out and help us with it.
It's also the collision of certainty and uncertainty. I mean, you're dealing with massive amounts of uncertainty. And
Massive.
Yep.
The Debbie Downers are saying, well, what's this, how's this gonna work? I need this, before I can commit to this, I need to know how these line up.
Right.
That's a tension that we have to manage.
Absolutely.
But it's very real.
It's-
And if I'm not convinced that we have a capital budget for the next decade that works, I'm not,
Right.
it'd be hard to get me in the balloon.
No, I understand that, but I think you also have to understand that doing nothing is a choice.
But we
And
gotta
doing
understand
nothing
that.
is, you
So
know.
we have all of these,
Right, and, you know, and if MSBA tells us that they think that we can put everything into one building and all we need to do is a renovation, but the problem with that is you're gonna hit that mark
doing
where you gotta
nothing
do
also
everything.
carries a capital cost to it.
Absolutely.
There's no free lunch in
Right,
any of
it's
this.
a capital cost on 3 or 4 separate buildings as opposed to the new construction. So, yeah, it's all
There-
very complicated.
And there's a lot.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to consider.
And to consider,
Yep.
A lot of moving parts.
a lot of moving parts.
Many.
But we did want to let you guys kind of know where we are. This hasn't, you know, it's been kind of a quiet period while we were getting the next phase going. People were on vacation, but now we're coming out again. So.
That was a lot of hard work you're doing, thank you. I hope it pays off, and time will tell. I'm not a Debbie Downer, but I still have questions and doubts.
Yeah.
Not academically, that's my.
Well, you know, we hear
my
people
side
say,
of
well,
that.
it's never happened before in
No.
Massachusetts. This never passes, so this is never gonna pass. Well, okay, then what? Then what? In 3 years, when we've run through all of our revolving funds that we've been using to
Yeah.
help offset assessments, then you start cutting programming, then you lose your students, then you lose your town people, then you lose more money, and it is the death spiral. And we're not in it yet, but we're awful close.
But if you don't continue trying this, you will be in it.
Absolutely.
We'll be in it fast.
You're gonna have to be doing something, and
Gotta
it's
try.
a lot prettier and better to do what you wanna do as opposed to what you're forced to do.
Right.
So, happy to answer any questions anybody has or anything
We actually put a list
of questions,
not to be answered now,
okay?
but as you're thinking about this, I was working with the select board and
Oh,
thinking
great.
about what are some of the things that we really need to pay attention to?
Yep.
Because if we don't answer these questions ourselves, we're gonna get blindsided by somebody who is.
Yep.
who's conscious. So we-
That's
we
great,
have a gift for you.
excellent. Well, that
None
is
of them
good.
are unanswerable. It's
Oh, yeah,
just
no, yep.
We need to.
Yep.
We need to have those answers.
Yep.
Before we can be credible
Absolutely.
in presenting a case. And I only focused on capital and the,
Yep.
actually the model. The modeling is gonna be essential as well
Right.
as.
Yep.
Yep.
So, there you go.
All things that we definitely have to consider. Yep.
Okay.
You said we
Good.
don't have to answer them right now.
No.
I don't think you can.
Some of them I can't.
I mean, it's really not fair.
Yeah.
but-
Right.
so-
Do you anticipate a time in the future where we would want to circle back to this list?
I mean, I think you guys are, I would assume you're probably planning on coming back in December when you find out
Yep,
Yep.
if you get accepted.
Probably
So why don't we
January.
maybe
Yep.
plan for that?
Perfect.
I would
Okay.
think so, and, you know, in teeing it up before then, we
Yeah.
could make sure we got
Yep.
the easy ones answered, the
Yep.
tough ones we could,
Absolutely.
because we're gonna be starting our capital budgeting, after someone gets back from vacation. But, so So this fall, we're gonna be building capital requests, and I'm watching Franklin Tech coming out of the sky, dropping
Yeah,
their bombs.
yes.
Have you seen I haven't been able, I haven't asked them, but I haven't been able to find their regional agreement anywhere to see how they actually assess.
I don't know, but it's gonna be ugly. So,
And how, you know, to that point, you know, in order for us to move any of this work forward, it requires a regional agreement change, which out of the gate requires a unanimous 8-town yay. You know, so no matter what we do, we need all 8 towns to agree. And I'm not sure how the Franklin County process works for that kind of vote. So if anybody finds out, that will be great.
I
And
will call them and ask for
I'll
their
reach out
regional
to Rick
agreement.
Martin about that as well, just so we can gain some insight. You know, because what happens if it's a vote and, let's say, Buckland can't afford it, right? That your assessment is something that is, you know, beyond your capacity.
I sent him an email asking him that question, so
Yeah.
we'll wait to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens when we come back and say no?
Yeah.
We do have a rep now,
Because
at
that's,
least.
We do.
that's kind of,
We
that
do.
point that we're starting to
Guy.
get to is, you know,
And as we talk about, for example, the senior center doing their thing, they don't have any money. They get money from us.
Yeah.
So all of these things add to our capital costs.
Right.
Mhm.
All these magical things that can
Yeah.
happen. And so if we're not thinking the total costs
Right.
of all these programs,
Yep.
how they're all gonna
Well, and frankly, we have not done a true capital plan for Mohawk Drill,
Right.
because we're in the middle of this unknown,
Yes.
right? So once we
But we are.
know
We are
where
going
we're
to, yeah.
at, you know, we might be looking at, okay, let's say this doesn't go, now we're, okay, let's peel that back, now we're gonna be looking for,
We are
Yeah.
gonna be on a tour of all the buildings again.
This is, the capital planning group is coming together this month, or
Put the band
next
back
month.
together. so.
Yeah, right, to go and see.
When you're playing?
Just so you know what the trade-offs are,
Yeah.
if you're gonna spend, over the next 5 years, you're gonna have to spend $7 or $8 million on the buildings, then is it better to put your $7 or $8 million into something else?
And if you wanna sell the building, here's the price tag based on the work that has to get done.
Yeah.
So, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Yeah,
yes,
lots to happen.
great,
okay.
Thank you,
don't
thank you
miss-
so much,
Alright.
you gave me a lot to think about, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for having
you
us.
guys for the update.
Yep,
Keep fighting the good fight.
we will. No stopping now.
Thank you, Dave.
What's that? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. I think we've got one more thing before we're going to move into executive session. We have public comment.
Hearing none?
Hearing none, moving on.
Gotta get the knee working again.
We do have a couple of announcements and upcoming meetings.
I'll be
September
in touch.
23rd will be our next select board meeting. September 20th will be Hazardous Waste Day, and participants must pre-register. We do that on our
They-
website.
They will do it with Franklin County Solid Waste
Franklin County
Management
Solid Waste.
District.
All right. And that will be at, is that the one in Greenfield or?
They have to, yeah, there's a regional drop off. I can't remember off the top of my head where that is.
I think they did that at GCC, wasn't it? Or was that just a bulky waste?
No, bulky waste is at Mohawk,
Yeah.
and that's also coming up, and I will be posting that to the website. I don't have it up yet. It's gonna be in
Maybe get some
October.
Flyers up at the train.
They have flyers at the transfer station for all of
And he's
that.
all over it.
He is,
Good.
he is, and there's laminated signs advertising it, and the whole 9 yards. Yes,
Who was the other gentleman that was sitting there?
David,
David,
David who?
um,
I got
Henry,
the name.
Henry.
Oh,
David Henry, school committee.
Okay,
He's our other school committee rep.
okay. I figured that, but I didn't know his name.
Yep. Okay. I will make a motion to adjourn our regular meeting and move into executive session to discuss contract negotiations.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, should
Aye.
probably inform Dana so he doesn't.
Yep.
Do you want to knock on the door?
You want to just pop your head in there, Pam?
Oh,
Okay.
he
We don't record the executive session, Dan.
I'm sorry?
We don't record the executive session.
No, it hasn't been recorded, no.
Okay.
Are you finished? with
No,
that?
we're.
Well, we're
we're-
done with what
so-
you need to
Yeah.
be here for.
So we ended our select board meeting.
Oh, you ended the whole meeting? Okay.
Yep, so we ended our meeting and then just moved into executive session.
You haven't finished that yet?
No,
Okay.
nope.